But I got away with only a few fights in my life. Like 2. And just for a random flex, 50% of all the fights I ever had, I won. He was a massive asshole, in like 8th grade, and I was a young kid. The most I knew about fighting was from movies where Jackie Chan played, and I was like, damn, I cannot copy Jackie Chan. So I know who I'm gonna copy. I'm gonna copy a bastard. So I grabbed like this massive wood log and I slammed it against his head, and then I just ran.
Okay, so this is the fight you won. So what about the fight you...
I was genuinely just annoying. I was going through the fucking edgelord phase, right? And I deserved it. I'm not gonna lie, I deserved it. Like, I was just genuinely trying to get under people's skin, just being an asshole. So he just fucking body slammed me into a wall. And I instantly dropped. I don't have anything against him. I fucking deserved it. And I don't blame him. Hoi Daka. I started bladesmithing at 14, but like, my first 3 years of knife making were extremely awful. Because I had literally no good tools, no good skill, and I was very young too. My grandfather used to do metalwork too. Like, not specifically my type of metalwork. He used to make like metal roofs and just like those thingies that make the rain fall from the specific area when it rains on the roof and whatnot. Just all those type of things. So I think my interest in metalwork like originated from a very young age because my grandpa used to show me all these things because I don't want to flex, but I was definitely his favorite child. I was definitely his very favorite grandkid. It's okay, most of them are in a better position in life than me right now, so they one-upped me already anyway. Eventually, my father finally got out of a very tight position in work and had the chance to raise me too. And he was also a very busy man. He basically was also taught by my grandpa how to do a lot of metalwork related things. So I usually just he told me that I usually just went into his tiny workshop and just stared at him do things because I did that to my grandpa too. Eventually I realized that like, damn, this is something I really want to do. And like, my first knives my start was very difficult. I was a kid, so sometimes I just stopped even trying and just went to watch Power Rangers and whatnot. I send you all the pictures that I made for the exhibition. None of those weapons work. Swords are blunt, guns don't shoot, okay? So don't worry about legality of it. If you replaced a few parts for like actual gun parts, it might actually work, but it doesn't. Well, usually a person asks me to make this really complicated battle knife, then the best they do with it is cut up a sausage. This one guy asked me if I could make him a knife. I'm gonna do it like in a month or so because that's the time he promised me money, right? He wanted this fucking bayonet-sized knife, and he also wanted like these engraved lines into it, like they're usually made there to make blood drip easier through the wound, while the knife is still inside. And I asked him like, gee man, what are you gonna do with this knife? Are you trying to murder someone? He's like, I just think it's nice. But like, the worst requests I ever get, I genuinely get irritated at this point. There has been so many people who came up to me and be like, can you make me a knife? And I was like, what kind? Just a knife, Like, it's so irritating that you have to explain to people that there's different types of knives, so it can do what it needs to do. Tell me what you want the knife for, and I'll make it. Describe how you want it to look, and I'll make it. Like, you don't go to a car store, hello, what would you like today? And you just go, car. Like, you don't do that. Imagine going to McDonald's and they look like, hello, what would you like today? And you just go, burger. Usually it's just people going up to me like, oh, my friend told me that you made him a knife. I really like that. I would be interested too,
Are you in like a small town where everybody knows everybody?
Oh, I'm in a village where everybody knows everybody, but usually it's just people that I borderline know. Or like I was told that I can trust them with stuff, Or like that they're good people. My first fully improvised knife, I really loved the process and the decisions I made. My first idea was like, fish look like knives. I should look at sea life to get inspired. That was my first thought process of when I thought about it. And then I looked at the seahorse and I was like, yo, this thing is cute and I should make a knife inspired by its body. I would say it's definitely dangerous. I've just been doing it for so long that it doesn't feel like it is anymore. But there's a lot of things that can go wrong. The more you improve, the more you learn not to do those things, and the more you not do those things, the more they become the past. Then you completely forgot about them, and then the steps that you take to avoid those mistakes will become second nature to you. You probably, while editing videos and doing stuff, you also did some mistakes that you didn't learn from, and eventually you just completely forgot that you ever even do those mistakes. I probably know everyone in my village and everybody in the neighboring village. The start is really expensive. Like, I probably wouldn't be a bladesmith now if my father didn't give me 80% of all the money I needed to start. Almost 4,000 euros to get only the starting tools that I needed. Makes me feel extremely privileged in that manner, because I wouldn't be where I am right now without him. You know those Finnish axes, you know? They have like these plastic handles and it looks like the plastic is like welded around the metal, but it's just kind of melted around it. That's an extremely hideous axe. And when you compare it to my axes, here you go a few, you can see that a lot of my axes are holding up to that old-fashioned style. Like, I don't even paint my handles to give them a fashion, I just do it the classic way of burning it a little and then sanding it into a nice coloring, you can see. Even if it's just like some random knife that you're probably gonna pick up twice in your lifetime just to cut up a piece of bread, I feel like it needs to be pretty. My favorite knife type is genuinely the tiny pocket cleaver knife. They're probably very useless knives, you know? Probably one of the most useless knives on the market. But I just love them because they look like tiny whales. That's my only reason. They are absolutely useless on everything else. Probably one of the worst type of knives that I have ever had the luck to make. To me personally, most knives look like sea life. Look at these two. Don't they look a bit like pufferfish? I usually just look at images of random exotic fish, you know? And then I'm like, damn. I'm gonna copy this shape, make it more into a knife-like shape, and then I'm gonna make a knife. I would say the most goldfish-like knife would be just like a bush dagger. I love the whole process in general. You know the seahorse knife? That used to be a piece of car spring. I'm not really a fan of buying like bladesmith metal from like stores specifically for knife making, because I feel like I'm really contributing to something productive and something good when I take out a bunch of garbage out of abandoned places or just like places where people throw things out. This knife right here used to be, there's also a picture of it when I drew it on the piece of old rusty saw. I gotta tell you, some of that old metal thrown out is usually really higher quality than some of the shitty metal you can buy at like specific metal stores for knife making. I bought this new forge, right? It's like this forge that can heat up metal red hot for 3 to 4 minutes. Really strong thing. I look at the manual, I ignore the page that tells me what not to do, and I just look at the page that tells me what to do. And I was like, oh, alright. So I started the gas, let the chamber fill up a little. I shoved my hand into the chamber like an absolute idiot, and then I turned on the spark. My entire hand was burnt. Actually, I have a picture of the fucking skin color difference between the hand that I turn on the forge with and the hand that I use for anything. Like, this wouldn't happen. I'm just too lazy to find a better solution to starting up my forge. Like, of course I don't do it anymore in the way that I put my hand into it like I did for the first time. I keep my distance, I put my hand to the side a little so the flame doesn't catch. But like, it's a huge fucking flame when it first starts up, right? And that's when it devours a bit of my hand for like a split second. But if you do smithing way too much, it's just bound to happen that your hand is just gonna become crisp. I should probably go to a doctor.